young girl, I wasn't able to eat the animals because I could hear them screaming. I couldn't stand what went on with them when they were farmed. And all that information always came to me, so I could never eat them. So that continues today. You know, I'm very concerned about what happens to the animals all over the world. And I get messages from animals. But what I do also is I work one-on-one with people. And if anyone has, you know, I've worked with any animal. I've worked with dogs, cats, horses. I read a frog. I read birds. I moved a spider for a friend one time. So what it is, I'll just explain a little bit about what animal communication is. It's actually, the term for it is interspecies telepathic communication, okay? So the animals are talking to each other. The animals have energy around them. They have thoughts. They're sentient. They have emotion. So usually when people talk about telepathy, telepathy is mind to mind. But it's really more than mind to mind. It's not mind to mind. We all know, everyone knows that the animals give us unconditional love. And so when we're thinking something, your heart is also feeling it. So when the two of them come together and you have an intention, you love your animal and you want to find out what's going on with your animal, you have this intention which is sort of a pathway, a bridge between all of that. So I have practiced my whole life how I've studied energy my whole life, and I've practiced my whole life how to take myself out of it and be able to feel that energy. So what happens to me when I'm reading an animal, I've learned how, and this has been a spiritual process my entire life, okay? I don't get a day off ever, okay? It's just I'm always learning something, and the animals, when I read your animals, they're bringing me lessons too and teaching me. So it's an evolution. The whole thing is always an evolution. So what happens is things happen sort of simultaneously or spontaneously. Sometimes this happens to me spontaneously. If I'm walking by an animal or a bird flies over me, I can kind of feel something up here. I'll look, you know, so your whole body is really like a transmitter and a receiver. So I'm just very sensitive, okay? And I've had to learn how to walk around in this world like that, okay? So what happens is when we sit down and you have a question about your animal, first thing I do is I sort of take a breath. I've learned how to work with my breathing, and I just connect on this resonant energy with the animals, okay? And the first thing I do is I just say to the animal, is just to make the animal at ease. Sometimes that animal doesn't want to talk to me. Another animal wants to talk first. It just depends. Like every communication, when people learn this, every communication is different. You have to kind of go by the seat of your pants all the time because you never know what's coming at you. The situations are different. The humans are different. The animals are different. You have to know how to work with the situation, how to hear the animal. And the animal is an animal. They have an instinctual body. They have an instinctual mind. I mean, a lot of them are domesticated. Our pets are domesticated, so they can live in our environments. So there's a lot that's going on there. But when I start talking to an animal, what happens to me is I actually sort of meld with the animal and become the animal, okay? It's like it just spontaneously happens to me. So I can feel their body, okay? So if they have a pain, I'll start feeling a pain. If they have a skin irritation, I'm like, oh my God, my arm is so itchy. Sometimes it's crazy because sometimes, like, you know, if they're telling me about a treat they just ate, I'm like, oh my God, this tastes so good, you know? So it just, you know, it just depends. And what happens also to me, it all happens spontaneously. The way I can describe it to all of you is, it would be like when you're recounting a memory, okay? Like say you went to the beach and you're thinking about it, and you can feel the sand on your feet, you can feel the air, the wind on you, you can smell the beach, you can hear the beach. It's like all of that happens at once. So when I'm communicating with an animal, I sort of become the animal. I'm telling them, a lot of things are happening at once. Like I'm telling them, first of all, I connect with them in love, and just, they know that my mission is to bring whatever they have at a more understandable level to you. Okay, they're with you for a purpose, so I'm here to help facilitate that with them, okay? So they can feel that. The animals can feel that. So when we start talking, it's like I sort of meld with them, and all of their energy becomes my energy, okay? So I can, like I said, I can physically feel. So if an animal's ill, I can feel what it feels like. With my third eye, I can kind of see in their body. It's almost like a little bit like being a medical intuitive. I can see what's going on in there, okay? And at the same time, I'm talking to them. At the same time, I'm healing. I'm healing them. It's like there's a connection of energy, and a lot is going back and forth. So while I'm doing it, I'm hearing what the animal hears. I'm seeing what the animal sees. I'm tasting what they're tasting. I'm smelling. Sometimes, like, I'll smell what they're smelling. And at the same time, it's almost like getting a download, because I'm getting all this information. Like, they may not be telling me it, but I just know it. I just know it. I just know this information. And at the same time, I'm feeling what they feel, okay? Whether it's a complete love, calmness, or an anxiety, or like sometimes they make me laugh, sometimes they make me cry. It just depends. So all of this is sort of happening all at once, okay? And what I do is I just tell you what's happening, tell you the message that all this information is bringing. Okay, if you're asking about like a behavior problem, like why is my cat peeing outside of the box? Like, it could be, you never know. There's never a certain reason for anything. Anything could be different. I could tell you that animals are more sensitive to electricity, okay? Right now there are sunspots, so a lot of the animals I found, like, I was told by the animals that, I was told about 2010 by the animals, because sometimes they come to me in dreams, or they'll just come to me, whatever, and that they're going to start running away more, because they're in the house, everyone is stressed, their people come home, they're stressed, there's more energy coming from the sun, and they're not getting outside enough, so they need to go outside and put their feet in the dirt, okay? They need to connect to the earth, and they're not doing that as much, so a lot of them started running away. So I found that really did, they told me that was going to happen, and that sort of started happening, okay? So there's ways to help that also, with, homeopathic remedies, something that would be grounding, or getting them outside more. So that's sort of how it works for me. So I work with people, if you like adopt an animal, and they'll tell me what their prior circumstance was. Like, I'll be able to, like, they might show me feet, and I'll feel what's happening. Like, if they were abused, I can feel all that, okay? And they'll tell me, and the reason for that is so I can apologize for humanity to them, for one thing. I do that a lot. I'm always apologizing, telling them how sorry and I am, and also so that they can know that that's over, that they're safe. That's not going to happen. Sometimes I put up an energetic barrier. It just depends on the situation, how afraid the animal is, or how, you know, if they've been traumatized, if they haven't. So I work with that. I work with people if their animal is ill, just to see what's going on in their body. It's not, you know, you still need to go to your vet. You know, you need to, and I've worked with vets with that also. You know, so whatever concern or issue that your animal might have, you know, if you're adopting an animal, you know, just to get them into the group, because what I do a lot when I'm reading the animals is I'm negotiating. Okay, so I'm feeling all this stuff and I'm getting all this information, and I'm seeing it from the animal's perspective, and I'm feeling it from the animal's perspective, okay? And then the human wants the animal to behave a certain way, and the animal's trying, but, you know, it's like speaking, sometimes the little piece that they're both not getting is like a complete different language to both of them, okay? It's like the animal is one way, the human is another, so what I do is I can feel the human also, okay? So what I do is I end up bringing them together and negotiating a solution. And sometimes, like if it's a behavior problem, sometimes that could be more like something like a training. You know, we could do some type of normal type, you know, dog training, or if it's a dog, it just depends, you know, what the situation is. Every situation is different. So I also do look for lost animals, you know, an animal that is lost or ran away. That's another type of communication. I use remote viewing, which I've been able to do since I'm a child also. So it's like I can ask the animal, like I feel them, and for some reason I can feel a direction where they are from the home, and then, you know, I feel where they're, you know, what the ground feels like, what it sounds like. I can look up and see things and get landmarks, and so, you know, I've had some success, some, you know, not every single time, because, you know, I can't do it every single time, but I do my best, and sometimes they're not meant to come home, okay? And also I can connect with animals that are on the other side that have passed, because that's such a tough thing for us to, they'll, you know, they're like your child, and it's just so difficult to let go of them. So it's usually very healing and very calming, because everybody's like, did I make the right decision if you're helping them go over? Or if it was something like an accident, are they okay? Did they feel pain? Are they at peace? Like, where are they? You know, so are they going to come back? All those kind of questions, you know, I can ask the animal and see what they have to say about that. So it's not like when I'm doing it, I'm just relaying what the animal says. Okay, I'm not interpreting anything. I'm just telling you. Sometimes it's, you know, sometimes it's harder to hear, but they're very loving in the way they send it, but they send it very strong. So just to warn you, if I'm reading for you, sometimes I'm crying, the next minute I could be laughing. It just depends on what I'm feeling, what's coming through me. So I do it one-on-one. I come to people's homes and I do this. I do a lot over the phone because it's energy. And like I said before, it's your intention, it's the love. That connection makes a pathway. You can read anyone and anywhere on the world, around the world, if the love is there and the right intention is there, okay? I also teach animal communication classes. I teach workshops because I believe, I mean, I was born with it. I believe everyone can do it. So it's just about, you know, we live stressful, busy lives, and you just don't have time a lot of times. It just kind of gets covered up. So it's just to, like, I do things to get you to remember, and it's so easy to remember. And the reason is, like, one of the thrusts of my work really is what the animals have me doing is reawakening that in everyone, because that is a type, it's not just animal communication. This is like an innate type of sensitivity and communication that we all possess. Okay, it's inner abilities. It's more, it's an awareness, and it's not something that has to take over and you know, that you don't have control over. You do have control over it. So, but the thing is that when you are able to feel on that level, any energy that comes at you, you can discern it. And this planet is in a lot of trouble right now. And there's a lot that's going on. There's a lot of positive that is coming now. And I feel that that's part of the reason. Is because it's not only, see, I can feel it coming out of the earth. You know, sometimes it gets overwhelming for me, I'm not gonna lie, okay? Sometimes it's like I have to amp everything down because I can really feel a lot. So when we're able to, so animal communication, you can get in and start feeling all this, and you can start discerning your life in this way. You'll just get more clues. You'll get a piece of information, or you'll remember something, or you'll have a synchronicity, or you'll feel something. And a lot of times we just don't notice that. So it's about recognizing those signals. And once you start recognizing those signals, you'll see that, like, in the last half hour, I've been getting these messages about this. So that's a way to personally discern your life. Move forward in a way that is very, very positive for you and very, very positive for the planet. And I believe, like, the children that are coming now, they're very ready for all this. So I feel this is one of the reasons the animals push me, is so that they can inherit a better situation, and that things can get better generation after generation and generation. And that's a lot of the thrust of what I do. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Anyone? Yeah, John.
Barbara, do you find that some animals or some species are more communicative than others?
Well, some animals are very strong, like horses, okay, are very strong.
Yeah.
Dolphins are very strong, okay? They've woken me up in the middle of the night and told me to come swim with them. I lived in Florida and I went and had incredible, so some are, but if you tap in, like if you just say, I'm gonna listen to you they'll come in strong, but some animals do have very strong energies. They all have strong energies, but it's a horse is pretty easy, to read, because sometimes some don't want to talk to you. So, it just depends. It just depends on the animal. So, it really helps them. It really, really helps them live in our world and sort of, adjust to whatever, or understand, or even have more fun, whatever. A lot of times they talk about food, like they don't only talk about real heavy stuff. Sometimes they just talk about toys and food and all this kind of, like silly stuff too, but, they like it, they're fun, so, so it just runs the gamut, but, it's a kind of thing that's constantly evolving and constantly growing, so, yes.
Do they know that they can talk to you?
Yeah. They feel it, like, yeah. Like, I don't really have, like, I don't have trouble starting a conversation with them. Like, but I've been doing.
Respond right to it.
Yeah, yeah, because their human loves them and is very concerned about this, and so it kind of, that reinforces like it's okay, and then they know I speak their language, so they can feel that, and then it's not even like, if you were learning animal communication, we would first introduce ourselves to the animal, and like you would have the animal approach you, and you would say, hello, I'm Barbara, you know, I love you, you know, your mom wants us all to speak. So you kind of introduce, from, like, at this point, it's just like the energy, it's almost like a magnet. It's
Mhm.
like that, yeah. So, they usually know, like, so,
What happens if you, like, I'm thinking our golden died of mast cell tumors. Now say you went and it was a very sick dog and you got called in by a family. What do you say to a dog or something like that?
well, we get the tissues out for one thing,
Uh-huh.
okay? Because I'll be crying as much as you'll be
I
crying.
wondered, what do you do? What is the point
Just
of that?
I sit down on the floor with the animal, I put my arms around the animal and just send them so much love and just tell them, it makes me sad just connecting and doing that because I could feel you. And I just tell them that everything's okay, that they're safe, and that, you know, and then I see how they feel. Are they sad to be leaving? Are they afraid to leave? Do they want help leaving? It's just, I just ask them, are you okay? You know, I would talk to your family and just say, is there something you want to say, or what do you want to know? I always ask that. That's the first question I ask, is like, what do you want to know? Like, what's your question? What's your concern? What do you want to know? So that'll be my first question, and that can start opening things up. Then a piece of, I feel like my body starts in, and then I get some information, and then it leads to this, and then so I've learned how to navigate through all the information to get the next piece, to get to the next piece. So it's just like and then you will be you'll be feeling that energy, like, because that energy gets big. So you'll almost feel like a calmness. You'll feel like you're enveloped in this energy, and then, you know, you'll feel that connection even more. It'll just be amped up. And then we'll just, you know, whatever it is, if you want to be there while they're going, like, we'll all, you know, then I can feel what they're experiencing as they're going, you know, or it's whatever. It's whatever. Like I said, you know, every situation is different. There isn't like any outline I can give. You just learn how to do it and just do whatever needs to be done. And actually the animal sort of leads me through that. I can feel my way through it, feel where it needs to go, or feel what needs to be said to that person. Like, it'll just come out of me, like I'll know. So that's the way it works. Yeah, one second.
Are rodents hard to read like hamsters or mice or like
They don't have a real big energy, okay? And their energy, like, they have a lot of almost electrical energy in them. So they're, I can read them, but they're not going to be saying the same things probably that like a dog or a cat would be saying. Yeah.
What would you ever do if you came across a bear?
I've come
By
across
accident.
bears.
You have-
I've come across bears. You mean,
Yeah, what would that do to you, or how would you? even
well, I'm
look
human
at
too,
it?
so if I
Yeah.
was like outside in my yard in the
You
dark,
would
I would get scared too, you know, I'm still human, but
If you get any.
yeah, so I will feel,
reaction by it? Yeah.
feel like I'll feel them, and I'll feel like their energy signature, like it's not like they just go away. They're walking and they have energy, and their energy doesn't always leave, like either does ours. We're here in this room, we leave, our energy's still here until you clear it. So I will feel them. I'll feel if they want me out of there. I'll feel, you know, it just depends. Like I could, you know, I could feel what the mother would be feeling for the cubs, or, you know, I felt them like, just leave me alone. Just get out of my way and leave me alone. Like, I don't feel aggression. It's just like, get out of my way, leave me alone. I'm just here eating, leave me alone. Like, a lot of times you feel that, yeah.
Hey, earlier this evening, you know, we heard about, you know, humans in past lives. Now, what about animals? Do they have
Yes, yes, yeah. And there are times when I read people and a friend of mine just called me because she felt compelled. She ended up getting this new dog, and it was just the other day, and she wanted to pick out a name. And I was doing something very bad. I was talking on the phone while I was driving, you know, and I just, all of a sudden, this flash, and I just saw the dog standing in Scotland. I'm like, God, I think that dog's been with you before in Scotland, this puppy. She goes, that's it. She had a Celtic name that she wanted to name the dog. She goes, she found the name. I'm like, okay, cool, bye. Yeah, so they do, okay, they are with us in our other lives, okay? With us in our other lives, not all the time, and also, they do reincarnate, but what I find is, it's almost like they can walk in and walk out, or they can send you another animal that's like them, that a lot of times you'll hear like, oh, you know, it's doing what my dog did, or it's doing what my cat did, whatever. So, I know this is like a different concept, but what I've found, it's not that the animal, I believe a lot of souls can live within one soul. So, the animal can send an animal back to you, and be there, and live in there, and be that animal, but it also can sort of walk in and walk out. I found that, yeah. Yeah.
But they don't come back as a human.
It's very rare, but I have to tell you, my daughter-in-law remembers being a horse. So, I don't know, it's very rare. I don't really pick up on that one, and I've read a lot of people and animals, and I don't, but she swears, and I believe her. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. So, okay, so yes, one more, and then we're gonna have to wrap it up. Yeah.
I've always wondered about an animal just coming here from another country, and they speak English, and how do you communicate?
I hear it in English. Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's a good question. I hear it in my head in English because that's what I speak. But I've worked with animals in South America and all over that, you know. So it's like an energetic language. It's an energetic signature. So we're exchanging that energetic signature. So to me, it's coming in English, but it's like it's the same and it's energetic signature universally. Whether you're talking to an animal, a human, a plant, it's the same. You know, it's the same sort of process. So, but you hear it, and I decipher the information in English to myself. Okay. So, one more, and then we got to wrap up.
Have you ever felt an animal being aware of spirits in the home?
Oh yeah. A lot of times they look up and they see something, or they bark or whatever. That's very, very common. What are they looking at? A disincarnated soul or another animal that passed. Maybe their buddy came back to see them. Yeah, it could be anything. But anyway, I thank you, and you can come get a card.